Honoring with lips. Dear friends, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Jesus accuses the Pharisees in today's Gospel, taken from Mark chapter 7, by quoting the words of prophet Isaiah. The Gospel presents to us a conflicting situation involving Jesus and the Pharisees. The Pharisees find fault with Jesus and the disciples for eating without washing their hands, as directed by the law and the tradition. Often Jesus had confronted the Pharisees and the scribes, who are the self-acclaimed custodians of the Jewish law. Jesus curing the sick on the Sabbath, the disciples plucking and eating corn from the fields on the Sabbath were against the sacred law of the Sabbath, according to the Pharisees. For the Jews, the Sabbath is a day of rest, and doing any work on the Sabbath is against the law. This law had its own benefits too. This taught the Jews to give importance to their family, community, and faith, and set apart time for them. Modern culture could learn from it. One of the crises of modern culture is the lack of time spent with the family, with the community, and with God. And because of this, families break up, communities split apart, and people live ignorant of God and His love. But Jesus' concern was that often the Pharisees observed the law only to be seen by the people. He called it lip service and not an experience of the heart, not done moved by the Spirit and inner power. He calls them hypocrites, people who live with masks to hide their true nature. The masks that the Pharisees wore were ritualism and legalistic fulfillment of the laws. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 40, teaches us to practice the laws diligently, with wisdom and discernment. But the Pharisees practiced it legalistically. St. Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6, God has made us competent to be ministers of the new covenant, not of letter, but of spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. Jesus observes that the Pharisees are leading the people in the path of the letter of the law, not of the spirit of the law, a path to death, not to liberation. We are involved in many rituals and laws, which of course is also a human need. But the Lord is cautioning us to refrain from making it into a lip service. Let them become expressions of love for God, springing from a genuine and faith-filled heart. A priest was offering prayers together with the people in the temple. A cat used to come into the temple during the worship and disturb the devotees. Hence, the priest suggested that they tie up the cat during the worship. Tying up the cat before the worship became a regular practice in the temple. It so happened that one day the cat died. The devotees ran around the village and got another cat and tied it in the temple before the worship began to complete the ritual. Let us not be cat hunters during our worship and in our life, but as Jesus directed, true worshippers worshipping the Father in spirit and in truth. May God bless us.